treasures once hidden, roots we reclaim. From scattered sparks, we learn our name. Through longest night, the call remains the same. Echo truth, no time restrained. Treasures in the Torah, long proclaimed. Ancient truth becomes eternal flame. By the Torah's light, we chart our way through darkest night to break of day. Across the seas where exiles roam, the written word becomes our home. What once was hidden now is shown, guiding us where truth has grown. From generations, voice and flame, we rise to walk the path again. Avast, me hearties, welcome to Treasures in the Torah. Welcome aboard.
There be treasures in the Torah. Ahoy there, me hearties, there be treasures in the Torah, not gems that glitter in a chest, nor gold that buys silence, but riches buried deep beneath the waves of the text, waiting for those with the eyes to seek 'em and courage enough to dive. This week's portion be Beshalach, and it speaks to every soul that has ever stood trapped. The sea before you, the enemy behind you, and the wind howling questions your heart cannot yet answer. Hashem does not lead his people by the shortest road, nor by the path that looks safest upon a map. He leads them where fear must be faced, where faith must move, and where freedom learns its own voice. For this be the tale of waters that waited, of feet that stepped before the way was clear, and of a song born not in comfort, but after terror was swallowed whole. So steady your hands, crew. Loose the ropes of yesterday's chains, for the sea yet remembers its master, and there be treasures in the Torah for those willing to walk forward before the waters part. Hashem did not lead them by the way of the Philistines, not because they were weak, but because they were newly free. A soul fresh from bondage cannot yet bear battle. Mercy sometimes wears the mask of delay. If your road be longer than ye hoped, it may be that Hashem be guarding your heart, not testing your strength. There comes a moment when fear can no longer hide us. That'd be a strange thing about a shell such as this. Though torn from the deep and long dried by the sun, one may hear the sound of the sea trapped inside its hollow. But hear me well, crew. The sound is not the ocean. There be no waves inside the shell, no tides, no deep callin' to deep. What ye hear is the world around you. Wind, breath, different noise, caught and twisted by the shell's shape. The shell does not carry the sea. It reshapes what already surrounds it. So it is with fear. The danger may be past, the enemy drowned, the chains broken, and yet the roar remains. Not because the sea still rages, but because the soul, like this shell, has learned the shape of terror. Fear echoes long after freedom arrives, not because Hashem failed to save, but because the heart has not yet learned how to hear the world without bondage. Moshe cries out. The people tremble. And Hashem replies, "Why do you cry out to me? Speak to the children of Israel and let them tally forth." There comes a moment when listening must end and movement must begin. Faith is not knowing the way. It is moving while the needle still trembles. Know his name well, crew. Nachshon ben Amidav. He was no nameless soul pulled from the crowd, nor a reckless youth chasing glory. Nachshon was a prince of Judah, son of Amidav, brother-in-law to Aaron the Cohen, and leader of the tribe from which kings would soon rise. The Torah names him again and again, first among the princes, first to bring offerings at the dedication of the Mishkan, a man accustomed to stepping forward when others hesitated. When Israel stood frozen in fear, the sea before them, Egypt behind them, Nachshon did not wait. He took Hashem at his word. Not running, not shouting, not proving, walking. Water to the ankles, cold as doubt, still the sea stands. To the knees, strength becomes fear. Strength becomes fear, and strength begins to question itself. Still the sea waits. To the chest, breath grows thin. Fear begins retreat, and only when Nachshon's life hung balanced between obedience and drowning, only then did the sea remember its master. The waters rise like walls, not for courage, not for certainty, but for trust. For the sea does not yield to knowledge, it yields to obedience. Freedom was sealed not with silence, but it was sealed with song. Miriam lifts her drum. The women follow. Feet that once fled now dance. Voices once strangled by fear find breath again. Trauma not sung becomes silence. Freedom not voiced fades. When the sea closed behind him, the people did not debate, they sang. But before there were laws to keep, there was a rhythm to remember. Some truths are written in ink. Others are beaten into the bones. There be many who sang upon the shore, but few whose song refused to stay behind. Know his name, crew. Rabbi Yehuda Halavi, son of Sepharad, poet of exile. He lived in comfort and honor, yet would not make peace with exile. My heart is in the east, and I dwell at the edge of the west. Like Naxon before him, he did not let his song remain in ink. He left comfort. He boarded the sea. He walked towards Eretz Israel without knowing if he would arrive. For a song that never moves the feet has not yet told the truth. Crew, Beshalach be written for every soul, standing today with fear behind and chaos ahead. Many wait for certainty before obedience. They pray for parted seas while refusing to wet their ankles. But Hashem's answer has not changed. Tally forth. The shell that we all have, that we are all used to listening to and thinking that the voices inside are true. All this does is teach us fear echoes. The compass teaches direction and exists without sight. The drum teaches freedom must be remembered in the body. The waters do not part for certainty. They part for obedience. Egypt fed them with gold, yet could not give them life. Gold cannot guide you through the sea. So Hashem feeds his people with manna, daily, humble, and trusted. The song fades, and the mountain waits. Next week, we sail into Parashat Yithro, from sea to Sinai, from freedom to commandment, from song to thunder. If these treasures stirred your heart, like, share, and leave a word below. Tell us where you've stood before the sea. and how Hashem has made a way. May the wind in your sails be filled with Hashem's righteousness, and may the evil urge plunge straight to Davy Jones' locker. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. I'm looking forward to having you on board for our next voyage.